Story 1. Just found out that my wife cheated with a promoter and it's my fault. Advice. Just found out that my wife cheated on OnlyFans. Was she playing a part, or was this real? First, let me start by saying that I'm an idiot. My wife and I knew a girl that was making crazy money on OnlyFans, and I asked her how she was doing that. I just had a medical emergency and couldn't work, so it seemed like it could help. She spoke to my wife, and ultimately, I asked should we do this. I ended up not wanting to be involved but told my wife I trusted her to run her OnlyFans. Stupid, I know. Anyway, some guy on Reddit reaches out to her and claims to be a promoter. He has his own subreddit and says that he's helped other girls make a lot of money on OnlyFans. He asks her if she wants promotion and if so, to write his Instagram name on her butt for verification. She decided to take him up on his offer because she was struggling to get subscribers. She sends the picture and he immediately asks her, "Let me fly you to Canada," and asks her to have sex. She responds, "There's a difference between finding someone attractive and physically cheating on my husband." He says, "I respect that." Then the next day sends a gif of him getting a BJ and says, "I'm imagining you doing this," and my wife responded saying she was good at it. The sexting starts to increase. He sends another picture talking about a foot job. And my wife said, "I'd rather do that with my husband." My wife didn't send him full frontal, but she did send him a picture of her chest with her nipples covered with emojis and the caption "Come SCK on these." This was after he made a comment about us seeking her feet. This is where things take a turn. He starts asking her for feet pictures. He then says that he's prec-emming to her feet and sends a video of what he likes. She then takes the video of her feet and gives him jerk-off instructions. This happened right after we were intimate. She claims that she felt horrible after doing that. She had a fake Snapchat for OnlyFans and he did call that to talk about his YouTube feed idea. I did not find out about him. I knew she was having friendly conversations with one person on Reddit. And of course, she had sexual conversations on OnlyFans. I originally saw the messages with the other Reddit guy. It wasn't sexual outside of the guy asking, "Does size matter?" and him venting about his ex. I was still mad. She came clean about the promoter but she didn't remember all of the details. She did tell me that she gave him JOI, which hurt, but I appreciated the truth. She claims she always brought me up. He asked her to do DP and that I could be included. She said I'd much rather do that with just my husband. We live in the US, so I don't think they would have ever met. She claims she saw more pictures of him and didn't find him attractive. She didn't have any feelings for him. She didn't want him. She said she was playing a part, just like Onav. She was in an OnlyFans group chat on Reddit, and they said to take interest in your promoter's life. She said she assumed sexting, etc., was his payment. She did admit that she escalated to the JOI, that she thought if he liked her more, he'd promote her more. She did admit that she got a self-esteem boost and liked that, but had no feelings for him. She deleted OnlyFans, Reddit, and all her social media. I should have set boundaries. I'm torn and don't know what to think. Help. Reader comment. You asked her to be a sex worker and you are surprised she sexted people. Original poster. Yes, surprised that she sexted a person who is and was not on. Reader comment. She knew what she was doing and hid it from you. Greater than just found out that my wife cheated with a promoter and it's my fault. Advice. She cheated. Outside of the only F for no monetary gain from this guy. Set boundaries. Make an OnlyFan. Make money off of videos and chats on OnlyFan. If you aren't doing that and are doing more, you're cheating. She cheated. She felt guilty because of what? He wasn't attractive. You didn't even see the videos they sent each other. You didn't even see the convo. You only know what she told you. But the best part, he wanted her to do this without you. None of this makes sense. You both need better communicating partners. Original poster. I saw the feed video she sent him. He got pissed and posted a bunch of stuff here on Reddit. That's about it though. Reader comment. Your wife was drip feeding, playing hardball negotiations, and for the right price or promises she would do more. Maybe even the BJ. Story 2. Intrusive thoughts of D-Day over a year later. On Halloween night of 2021 I found out my girlfriend at the time was cheating on me. I had known for a while but had no proof and she gaslit me pretty hard on a lot of things and somehow the stress of everything had led to nightly panic attacks for the previous 4 months. Basically, how I found out I was right was she asked me to come over to watch her dog while she went to her grandma's birthday party. I said sure but needed a way to do schoolwork as I was in school at the time and she said I could use her laptop. I go to work, come back to her apartment, take care of her dog, go to do my schoolwork and boom, she's left her text messages open on her computer with her APS sexting back and forward planning a getaway for Halloween. I couldn't breathe and was literally clutching my chest. I told her I knew she was cheating while I was at it but just needed to get out of that apartment. She said no. She said if I leave I would be killing her dog and said some SHT and about how she knew I didn't care about the dog. And she said she'd be back in a few days and to just use the NyQuil in the medicine cabinet to knock myself out until she got back, but to make sure I was waking up to take care of the dog. I'm going to get some flack for this, but I was an idiot and did as instructed because I actually care a lot about animals and I did have the only key to her apartment, meaning if I left I would have had to leave it unlocked. So, I spent the next few days chugging NyQuil, not able to eat or drink and just taking care of this dog. Needless to say, we broke up when she got back. She also got rid of that dog because it was an inconvenience to her. Her AP apparently left her 3 weeks after and she tried to come back, but nope. I was honestly pretty alright for a good chunk of the last year and change. Just don't put me in any small apartments and leave. Don't take me anywhere near her particular apartment. And I've been avoiding dating sites to avoid seeing her and because I'm not ready despite having a friends with benefit. Something about the way I knew it had all blown up after I left and how a lot of things now made sense, made it feel tolerable even if I was still very angry. Then out of nowhere 2 months ago I started having occasional intrusive thoughts about D-Day, in particular the exact moments of finding those texts. I'd start to get sick and feel shaky, but it dissipates. Unfortunately, though it's gotten worse and it's now at this point where basically every other day those thoughts come in and I just end up feeling so goddamn ill. I just want it to stop but I don't know how. I also don't know why this intrusive thought started so far after the inciting incident. Reader comment, did you feel better writing this post? Sometimes writing down all the details and feelings can help. You can throw it away or delete afterward. It's just the unloading of information that can help. It also helped to talk with someone like a counselor or therapist. Original poster, I bet you I wish I could afford a therapist. Counselor. Reader comment, sorry you are going through this. Hang in there. I deal with intrusive thoughts daily. It did help me a bit to read the book Overcoming Unwanted Intrusive Thoughts. It doesn't talk much about infidelity, but it gets into the science about how the brain has intrusive thoughts and ways to combat them. Makes you feel much more normal understanding why it happens and that it happens to everyone. Story 3. F29 cheats on M29. Reconciled despite huge red flags. 29 Fahrenheit partner cheated on me about 5 years ago. We got back together. Since that time there were 3 other incidents that occurred. 2 were excused because nothing technically happened, and I only consider the third a slip-up because the first 2 things happened, and I see it as part of a pattern. Anyway, I got access to her messages recently, at first for legit reasons. But then I came back because I found red flags in the form of text messages. They were not incriminating directly, though given the context I think they are bad. Then it just sorts of clicked, and I realized that everything I know about the cheating came through her, and my entire understanding of what had occurred came through her, and I was maybe wrong to think that nothing happened, and maybe she only told me that at the time to placate me. I have since indirectly asked about a few things without giving away what I read, and she claimed I should just get over it. Things were 5 years ago, and that she cannot remember that long ago. Of course, her tone had a more the statute of limitations has expired on this type of tone than somebody who was legitimately dealing with me on an emotional level type of tone. Anyway, I realized that I don't even want to confront her with new information because she'll just deny it and I don't want to get yelled at. And I feel like I have more self-respect than to give her yet another opportunity to lie to my face. I realize that I am not in a good place. I also realize that I have had these negative feelings about her for a while. She's not the worst partner ever. There are many good things about us. It's part of the reason I have stuck it out with her for so long. But I just can't keep lying to myself anymore. It's obvious she cheated more than she admitted to, and it's obvious our values regarding sex are way different. It just feels good to admit to myself that I am not crazy, and that my feelings about her are correct. Thanks for listening. Reader comment, what are you going to do? I get the impression that you rug swept in the past and allowed yourself to be trickle truth. Original poster, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm probably going to do nothing about it for a bit and just try to focus on getting my personal life outside of her more functional. I mean the SX itself. I don't really care about that. If it really was just SX, I would be comparatively okay with that, but being lied to really hurts, and having certain relationship expectations put on me hurts. Edit. Like I can forgive the SX, but I can't forgive being lied to. I have some appointments booked. I have some things to keep me occupied. It should be okay. I mean, she obviously has some toxic ass stuff going on, so I'm just going to focus on keeping my own psyche good. Like, we clearly have very different values. Her SHTTY questionable values and my somewhat more reasonable values. I'm more than a little angry, but even now I'm just thinking it's not worth it to tank my mental health over someone who is a pretty obvious ass. Thanks for listening. Reader comment, I wish you all the best, but honestly after I read that she cheated on you 5 years ago and then another 3 times since and you still stayed, I just stopped reading. Leave and work on your self-esteem and find a partner that won't cheat on you. Story 4. Husbands as victims. I am a mid-40s male married since my late 20s to a similarly aged woman. We have issues. Our marriage has issues. One marriage issue I have had all marriage long is definitely the infrequency of sex. Dating, we were not sexually active for several months, then overly sexually active for several years. But we stopped penetration for many years before being married. For reference, a hole never been on the table, not once. My primary love language is physical touch, and therefore sex is one of the top ways I feel love. She has little interest in sex. I now understand that females with her past traumas typically end up with this low valuation of sex during marriage. Still, actions speak louder than words, so hearing I love yous. Early in our marriage I would ask for sex pretty much every night. The rejection was swift and constant. We would only have sex maybe once a month. A really good month would be 3 times. She seems blasé over me not getting sex because as a guy I can touch myself, right? However, by month 3 of our marriage, I was having issues touching myself to fantasies involving my wife because the constant rejection. I get aroused easily, so I would take matters into my own hands where I start playing out a fantasy with her, so make myself finish. Except, it would soon hit me like a bomb. She does not want to have sex with me. That realization usually would end the erect. I have a past with PRN addiction, plus I prefer not to fantasize about other women, and now the only woman safe to fantasize about is not going to happen. Therefore, touching myself during my marriage comes with more things to be guilty about, and oh yeah, middle age is a son of B, so erections are not so easy to come by anymore. So, sex in our marriage has always been infrequent at best, where it was almost always me willing to have it every day, but we only had sex when she would agree. 2 willing partners, that is what sex is supposed to be, right? Recently it struck me about an occurrence early in our marriage. We lived in a certain dwelling for the first few years of marriage, and I know my memory is from there. I really do not remember why I did not want to have sex that night. Upset with her about something. Wasn't in the mood. Already took care of myself. Tired. Needed to get up early for work, etc. But regardless, it was one of the very rare nights I was not interested. But this night she wanted sex and I did not. Then, it happened when she was rebuffed. That's fine, she quipped. It was not an understanding statement from a wife who understood what it was like to not want sex on a night their partner desired it. No, this statement dripped with attitude and was a threat. I took it as sure sign that if I thought sex between us was rare before tonight, then just watch out if she does not get what she wants tonight. As a woman scorned, sex is going to get less frequent soon and will remain so for a long time. My wife does not forgive and forget. She harbors and festers her pain. Do not get me started on that. It was not hard to imagine her suppressing any desires she had for sex in future out of spite. She is also a manipulator, and I have always been easily manipulated all my life. Anyways, after her threat, I relented and had sex with her that night. My memory is awful. And yet still over a decade later, that night and her words linger. Recently the memory of that night came to mind, and it hit me that it was really not right. Not right as in like sexual coercion, not right. Could it be even, maybe even more? Not really sure yet. So, what do you say, Reddit? Seems rare for husbands to claim to be victims when sex is involved, but why is a man's no any less valid than a woman's? Now looking for a divorce from her, Reddit's permission to go off the reservation. I have not touched another woman or had any emotional relationships with other women since long before we were married. I have no intents to break my marriage vows now. Coming to Reddit to see if there is validation for the way I am feeling about this incident. Already bracing for the negative feedback. Reader comment: I would send your gender theories to the trash bin and focus on what really matters here. You are in sex-less marriage and have acknowledged being manipulated by your wife throughout your time together. So, why are you still married to her? Reader comment: I'm going to be real with you. No one, man or woman, is going to be condemned by outsiders as being sexually abusive, coercive over saying the phrase "that's fine" when being turned down for sex. If we were to make inferences about the tone or subtext, we'd just be talking out of our asses. But you have experienced real pain in your marriage, and you don't have to just suck it up